Yes. Yes, we called him again. How are you, Mike?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Way better than Chase Young, apparently. Can you please explain to me what in the world happened there?
I mean, I don't have a good explanation other than, obviously everyone involved thought it was minor from the beginning. Not only did Chase Young exuberantly say he thought it was no big deal. That's what we heard. That's what the Saints said. Saints didn't put him on IR. They expected 2 to 3 weeks, and now we're going on week 5. So it was more extensive than originally thought, I guess. I don't believe it was a re-injury situation, but very annoying. He'd be a helpful player to have on the field.
Is there any Mike, I look at this just as a inquisitive mind, and I say clearly one of two things happened. I say, okay, either they grossly misdiagnosed this, which is possible, or he's able to come back and just isn't. Is there gray area there potentially?
I mean, obviously, potentially gray area, yes. I mean, the difference between 3 and 6 weeks, the difference between, I feel 75%, I feel 85%, I feel 95%, all that stuff is gray area. I mean, when it's these kind of injuries that aren't a broken bone or anything like that, there's a lot of, sometimes guys take longer, some guys don't feel quite right. Are you willing to play at 80% with certain teams and situations, but you got to be 100% in other situations? I mean, I don't know which shade of gray we're talking about, but yeah, I mean, it exists somewhere in between all of those possibilities.
Okay. What do they do on the offensive line this week?
Trevor Penning practiced again today, which is good.
Good.
So it looks like they'll only be down one man, which is Cesar Ruiz, and he could miss multiple weeks. And obviously Torres Simpkins has been filling in for both of those guys when needed at either spot. He's the most likely next man up. But it's not great. It's not great to have a slightly banged up Trevor Penning just one game after he came back, and an undrafted rookie who is overachieving in Simpkins, but is still, an undrafted rookie with very little experience. So that really stinks because they finally got their starting 5 out there last week. They decided to make a run-heavy game plan, and they ran the ball great. And that is what they wanted to be. That's what they want to be. And injuries always throw a wrinkle into that. But it's, at least they do have McCoy and their tackles, who I would argue are their most important offensive line.
If you flip it over on Thursday's injury report, Devon Gottschall had a veteran rest day, so he was a DNP. But then Isaac Yiadom was downgraded from limited to a DNP. If he doesn't play, what do they do at corner?
Well, I mean, obviously Quincy Riley's been seeing more and more playing time as that third guy. And Yiadom is the third guy, even though he starts, sometimes when they're in nickel. He's the third, even though he starts on the outside when they start in nickel. He's the third guy when it comes to snaps. Riley has been chipping away at that anyway for a number of reasons. One, he's probably earned some playing time. Two, this is a team that knows it's rebuilding and it wants to look at its younger players and give them some experience. And three, Yiadom has this weird thing where if he plays 33% or more of his snaps this year, he qualifies as a certain level of free agent. They could lose a compensatory pick next year. And this is a team that should not be giving up a draft pick to play Isaac Yiadom more, especially now that they're 0-4. So when you add all of those things together, I think even when Yiadom is healthy, we're going to see a lot more Quincy Riley playing that spot.
Okay, great tidbit. Mike Triplett's with us. Get him at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Our chats with Mike every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Matter of fact, I rolled through Benny's earlier today. I'm an unlimited car wash club member. Would highly recommend it to you as well. I think it starts at like $17 a month. It's super easy. Do it. Benny'sCarWash.com. Benny'sCarWash.com. Mike, we saw that Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill return to practice this week.
Yeah.
That's fantastic news. I mean, anything helps here. So when realistically do we think we're going to see them in a game?
That is really tough to say because these are not just guys who started the year on IR because they got hurt in August and they were going to miss 6 weeks. I mean, these are guys who haven't played football since last season. They didn't have a training camp practice. They didn't have a mini camp practice. So how long will it take them to ramp up? I think they've done everything physically they could do. I think the Saints were overcautious with them, gave them ample time to return, their conditioning, their health, the state of their knees, all of that. But how long do you need before it feels like you're ready for a football season when the science has made it that you want to have OTAs, minicamp, and training camp to get ready for a football season? I don't have a lot of comparisons, to be honest. And so it's going to be unique, as we figured out. I know from talking with Foster Moreau, like he feels as good as he can possibly feel, but how quickly can you condense it? He had a good kind of comparison yesterday. He said every rep he takes in practice is like one day of training camp practice. That's his formula right now. But I imagine it'll be at least a couple of weeks, and I imagine it'll be a baby steps thing as they go. I mean, I don't think we're going to see, hey, by next week, 40, 50 snaps.
Right.
And it's going to be particularly interesting with Taysom Hill because there's also they haven't gotten a chance to implement Taysom plays into their playbook. I mean, offensive linemen need to know how to block those. These coaches need to know how to design those. So I imagine he'll be a guy that is very slowly ramped back up into being Taysom Hill.
Let's assume they both do get healthy to themselves. How impactful is that on this year's team?
Well, Foster Moreau would help at tight end because I think that's kind of one of their thinnest and most unproven positions. They've got behind Juwan Johnson, they've had Jack Stoll and the rookie 7th-round pick, Maliki Mataveo, playing a lot of snaps. Foster Moreau could step right in and really help that position group as both a pass catcher and a blocker and a veteran leader and all that. I think it'll be pretty easy to get him acclimated. Taysom Hill's pretty fascinating. I mean, last year, Clint Kubiak flew to see Taysom Hill in like February and designed his playbook around him and made him a fullback and made him more a part of the offense than we've ever seen before. And he was an NFC Offensive Player of the Week last year. I just don't know how you can do that. I mean, I'm kind of picturing what Kellen Moore said when they traded for Devon Vele late in August, and he compared it to when the Eagles traded for Jahan Dotson late in August the year before that. It's like you kind of give them one little section of the playbook at first. You work on that for a while. Maybe you add to that. I just have a hard time thinking that this team is all of a sudden going to be in the Taysom business when these coaches have never even gotten a chance to work with them before.
That's a great point. They got a great opportunity this week, Mike. I mean, there's no way around it. They're favored for the first time. The team hasn't even led in a game yet this year through 4 weeks. When you look at this matchup with LSU, or excuse me, I'm looking at something else with the Saints and the Giants. When you look at this matchup, where do you perceive maybe the Saints to have advantages in the Dome?
Well, a lot of places. I mean, the Giants are not a great team. We saw a lousy Saints team go into New York and beat them last year. Brian Brzez's good at blocking their kicks. That's a big advantage for the Saints in this game. But look, the scariest thing about their team was Malik Neighbors, and you had LSU on the brain for good reason. I mean, he was the identity of this team, and that's a crushing blow for them. I hate to see it.
Yeah.
And then it's a crushing blow for Jackson Dart, who is now getting to show everyone what he is, and he lost the go-to guy that he has there. So yeah, the Giants' offense is going to be a work in progress, and Jackson Dart did win his first game last year. He threw for 111 and I think ran for 51. So the Saints got to see his blueprint. They got to see what he likes. They're probably going to try to take that running away from him and make him pass. They're going to try to, whenever you get a rookie quarterback like that, you're going to try to disguise so he doesn't know exactly what he's looking at and confuse him that way. I'm sure Brandon Staley will do that. So that's where the advantages lie. It's the opposite on the other side of the ball. The Giants do have a good defense, especially a good defensive line that they added Abdul Carter to. The pressure they can bring up front is where the Giants have the advantage. But yeah, I think I made this point earlier. Like I felt bad, like talking about a moral victory, at Buffalo for a team that fell to 0-4. But we did like a lot of things we saw at Buffalo, against a really good team. There's no moral victories at home against New York. This has to be an actual, real victory.
It would be the first for Kellen Moore, the first for Spencer Rattler, who's 0-10 to start his career, as we all know. Great opportunity for the Saints on Sunday in the Dome. NewOrleans.football is where you read him. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Y'all give him a follow. He chats with us every single Thursday here, presented by Benny's Car Wash. Benny'sCarWash.com, Benny'sCarWash.com. Go learn more about their unlimited membership clubs at Benny'sCarWash.com. Okay, Mike, we appreciate it as always, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.